All right, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to give you an update on the barn project. I had to disassemble the base because it wasn't, the corners weren't square, and when I set the barn on there, it didn't really fit. So I just broke the edges apart and re-glued it. And the second thing I had to do was cut a notch in for where the ramp butts up against the front. So you can see that, it's got stone foundation there. Well, when you put the ramp up there, if you had, let me show you on the side what it looks like. If, without grinding that out, it kind of sits far away. So they suggest sanding it, but this stuff is resin and it doesn't sand very easily. So anyhow, I've got a notch in there, and let's see, turn this to the light. It mates up pretty good. Once it's all painted, I don't think you'll be able to see that gap. I can fill it in with some small ballast or something if I need to. So anyway, how I did that, and don't do this at home. I don't have a bench grinder, so I made a bench grinder. I have a hand grinder, and I have this Workmate. The grinder has a handle on the side, so I clamped it in there and then used that to kind of notch out the plastic. I did try to sand it, and it was going to take me forever to sand. So anyway, the ramp goes in the front here. The barn sits up on top like that, so that the bottom of the doorway is right even with the top of the ramp. And there is a floor for this, which is not close by right now, but there's a floor that goes in the barn. And then, as I said, I don't have this sitting on here correctly, but so that goes on there. And then the roof panels, which I showed you at the end of the last video, are sort of tar paperish kind of roof. So I'm going to proceed with painting this now. I've got a couple of different things to do. I wanted to put a black wash on the foundation first, and then I'm going to paint the doors, of which there are at least two. There's one there on the corner, there's another one here on the side, and one on the back. So I'm going to paint those brown. I'm using a micro brush for that. And the windows, I think I mentioned last night where I broke this one out. I'm going to put a piece of wood back in here. There's a bunch of that laser cut wood that's sitting over here that I've got plenty of, so I'll just put some behind here so that it looks like someone broke the window out, which they did. So I think I'm going to start on the barn first. I'm kind of eager to see what that's going to look like with the red paint kind of dry brushed on there. So I'm going to get set up over here at the table, get the paint out, and the brush is ready to go, and we'll come take a look at that. So be right back. So I've got a couple of colors here that I want to try. One is called Barn Red, and the other is called Brown Oxide. So if the Barn Red is a bit too bright, I may end up, I guess I should have opened these before I started recording. Let me just grab a knife here. Apologize if there's some white noise in the background. I've still got the fan running here in the garage. It's still 80 degrees here in Tennessee, so a little bit warm today. But both of these colors are just standard craft paint colors, which I got at Walmart for, I don't know, 80 cents a bottle, I think. So I've got an assortment of brushes here. I've got a couple little makeup applicators, which I don't know if that was in the shot or not, but I'm going to try these as well. So let's see what the Barn Red looks like to start. And I have a little piece of cardboard here that I'm going to use for a palette. So there's not much shaking to go on with these. So Barn Red is almost purple. So I'm going to try these one of these makeup applicators first, just to kind of see what they're like. So dip it in the paint, and then I'm going to rub the majority of it off, and start with the top here and work my way down. Okay, I rubbed too much of it off. Let's try a little bit more. So this barn has a very light coating of gray on it. So the reason I'm starting at the top is that the roof has a bit of an overhang, so you would expect that the top of the barn would be more protected than the bottom. So I'm just going to play with this a little bit and kind of see what we have. I think maybe that may be the way to do it. Just kind of start at the top and drag it the whole way down. So I don't know how well that's showing up, but here we are so far. The nice thing about paint is if it turns out really awful, you can start over. So I'm going to continue this process. It looks like it's pretty good, turning out pretty good. It's getting a lot of different thicknesses of the paint in there. So I'm going to continue this and do quite a bit of it. I'll speed this up, this portion of the video, so you don't have to watch this tedium. Okay, so here's what it looks like right at the moment. I may come back later on after this is dry and kind of hit with this, whatever I said this was, brown oxide, especially around the bottom, to kind of give the impression of mud, being splashed up and so forth. Hopefully I'm still in the shot, but anyway, that's how I'm going to continue around the side here, and then we'll come back when I start the brown oxide, and we'll pick up from there. All right, so here's the barn. I think it turned out pretty well. As I said, I'm going to come back now with some brown along the bottom, and we'll see how that works. One thing I wanted to mention, those of you who have a dollar store nearby, take advantage of the dollar store. I got these little makeup brushes. I guess there's, you get 20 of them for $1, so 5 cents a piece. And the other thing that I got there, sorry about the arm in front of the camera, was this assortment of sandpaper. They're about, I don't know, 4 by 5 maybe, and they start at 80 grit. It's an assortment, so there's 80, there's 240, there's 400, 150, a bunch of 150s, bunch of 100s, bunch of 80s, and then a few very fine here at the top. The top here is actually, oh heck, I forget what they call this, emery cloth, I think. So you can actually wet this and sand with it. It's waterproof. The rest of it's paper, but I don't know, there's like 100 sheets in there for $1. There's not 100, there may be 50. But anyway, 2 cents a piece. And the other thing too, super glue, which right here, they have gel and they have regular consistency. You get 2 of these for $1. They're 0.1 ounce. So, you buy a bunch, you're good for a while. Okay, so back to the barn. This is red oxide, or sorry, brown oxide. I'm just going to get a little down to that. And let's see, I've got a big blob of red up here. Let's take that off. Okay. So let's start with the back of the barn. I don't want much of this until I see what it's going to look like. It's an awful lot like red. We're going to need a little bit more. All right, I think that's actually going to turn out pretty well. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it definitely has a brown cast to it. Anything that says oxide is going to have a red cast to it. You know, rust, red, oxide. So I'm going to continue around here and see what this looks like, and then we'll pick back up with the rest of the assembly. Okay, so got the brown on there. I don't know how well that shows up. Let's try moving in a little closer. Around the edge, I smeared some here and there, up along the sides and so forth, just to kind of give it a different color. I may have to come back in and blend in some more here. I don't know, we'll see what it's like when it's fully dry. But so far I like it. So now I'm going to move on to the dirt ramp and see what I can do there. So we'll pick up with that in just a minute. Alright, so what you didn't see, or maybe you did see, I don't know. I thought I had the camera on, but apparently not. I've gone ahead and put the first coat of brown paint on this ramp. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. It is a flat, I hope, paint. Yes. Okay, so once it dries, we'll see what it looks like. I may have to come back in and put some other colors on there. But anyway, that's it for now. So this is the floor, which has a coating, just a light coating of gray on it. You can see pretty much the wood grain and so forth showing through there. So I'm going to hit with this with some brown and just dirty it up a bit. These are the barn doors. So I forgot to paint those, but those are now painted. So we're just going to hit this with some brown.